Imagine this. You're hanging out with your best friend, right? On a hot Texas night. The laughter's loud, the beers are cold, and then somebody says, Bet you won't let me shoot you in the head if you wear this helmet. It sounds like a joke, right? Something you'd brush off. But what if I told you they went through with it? And by the end of the night, one of them was dead, and the other was in handcuffs. His life destroyed. This isn't a movie. This isn't a rumor. This actually happened. Yo, what's good? You tapped in with Latin Active 209, the spot where the real ones ride, the fakes hide, and the truth stays alive. Let's lock in, because it's about to get heavy. You ever hear something so wild, so unbelievable, you gotta read it twice just to make sure you read it correctly? That's how the story hit people when it broke. Two men, supposed to be friends, hanging out in Texas, right? And instead of doing what most people do with friends, maybe like watch a game, watch a boxing match, maybe drink a few beers, barbecue, maybe talking about life. These men decided to play one of the dumbest, most reckless games you can imagine. They found a helmet, strapped it on one of their heads, and said, Let's take turns shooting each other. Not paintball, not airsoft, not with rubber bullets, real guns, real bullets. And it started like some twisted contest, as if they thought the helmet could save them from the laws of physics, as if they thought the Grim Reaper was going to watch from the sidelines and let them clown around without stepping in. While the devil sat there and watched them play this game, like, ha 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 ha, got you suckers. Neighbors later said they heard laughter, loud voices, the kind of noise that sounds like people daring each other to do something they know is wrong. And sure enough, the game escalated. One man put on the helmet, stood there while his so called buddy aimed a gun and fired. Pow! The shot rang out. The helmet dented, maybe sparked a little bit, maybe even knocked him off balance. But the guy survived. And instead of stopping there, instead of saying, Damn, that was close, they switched places. Now it's the other man's turn. Helmet on. The friend raises the gun. Another shot. Bam! Adrenaline pumping. Somehow, by luck or sheer stupidity, it doesn't kill them. And here's where it gets truly dark. Because once you cross that line, once you treat a firearm like a toy, you're playing a game that doesn't have winners. There's only not yet or win. They kept going, turn after turn, taking shots, pow, pow, thinking the helmet was some kind of magic shield. But bullets don't ask permission. They don't care about dares or friendships or laughter. They pierce still. They ricocheted, and eventually, inevitably, one round found its way past the cheap protection. That's when the game ended. One of those men dropped, blood soaking through, laughter silence, life snatched away in a blink of an eye. Imagine being there in that moment. The smell of gunpowder in the air, the sudden shift from reckless fun to horror. One man gasping for breath, the other frozen in shock, realizing this isn't a joke anymore. The body on the ground isn't going to get up. Police were called, but by then, the damage was permanent. And that's the crazy part. These weren't enemies, these weren't gang rivals or two men in a heated dispute. These were friends. Friends who thought they were invincible. Friends who thought they could outsmart a bullet. But when the police report came out, when the news spread, people shook their heads the same way you're probably shaking your head right now. Because this wasn't some mystery murder. This wasn't an unsolved case. This was death by stupidity, death by dare, death because two men forgot the first rule of handling a gun. You don't point it at someone you don't intend to kill. Now, here's the thing, people love to laugh at stories like this. They read the headline, they chuckle, they say Darwin Awards. But if you stop there, you miss the real tragedy. Because behind the stupidity, behind the ridiculousness, there are real families. A mother got a call saying her son was dead. Kids if he had any, just lost their father. And that friend, that so called buddy, he's alive, but his life is over too. Because he's got to live every day knowing he pulled the trigger. Maybe not out of malice, maybe not out of hate, but the result is the same. His best friend is in a grave 6 feet deep, and he's the one who put him there. And you know the courts, they don't see it as just a game gone wrong. Nah, that's reckless homicide. That's manslaughter. That's years behind bars. A criminal record, a life forever mark. All because two men thought they were tougher than common sense? Come on, man. You think about the ripple effect. Every family barbecue from here on out has an empty chair. Every holiday, one less voice at the table. That neighborhood where the shots rang out, people are haunted by the memory. And the headline lives on forever. So when the kids grow up, when the families try to heal, all they'll find are people laughing at how stupid this was. But for them, it's not funny. It's a wound that doesn't close. This is what makes true crime stories like this so unsettling. They're not always masterminds plotting elaborate schemes. Sometimes it's just reckless choices stacked on top of each other until one choice becomes the last. And the bigger picture, this story exposes the way people treat firearms in America. Guns aren't rare, they're everywhere. You hear about people cleaning guns that go off and kill someone, kids finding their dad's pistols and pulling the trigger, and in this case, grown men deciding to play Russian roulette with the helmet. It's insane, but it's also a mirror of how desensitized some people have become to the power of a weapon. That helmet became a symbol of false security. Like people who think seatbelts mean you can drive drunk or airbags mean you can text while driving. Safety gear doesn't make you invincible. At best, it buys you a second chance. But the second chance ran out that night in Texas. And the saddest part, if you could rewind time, if you could sit those men down 5 minutes before they started that game and show them the outcome, show them the blood on the concrete, the tears, the handcuffs, maybe they would have laughed it off, tossed the helmet aside, and grabbed another beer. Maybe they'd still both be alive today, but life doesn't work like that. Once the trigger's pulled, there's no rewind. Both lives gone, one in the ground and one in prison. So, what do we take from this? Because the easy reaction is just to laugh, to scroll past, to say, well, that's what happens when you play stupid games. But the higher reaction, the one that actually honors the tragedy, is to learn. Learn that life is fragile, that one choice, one dare, one moment of trying to impress somebody can alter the course of every life in the room. Learn that weapons deserve respect. Guns aren't toys, they're not props for bravado. They're tools of life and death. And once you forget that, once you stop respecting that, tragedy is only a heartbeat away. And learn that friendship, real friendship, is about protecting each other, not daring each other into danger. A true friend says, nah, that's a bad idea. Let's chill. A true friend pulls you back from the edge, doesn't push you towards it. But here's the hope: we can shift the culture. We can change how we treat each other. We can replace recklessness with responsibility, mockery with mentorship, foolish dares with meaningful memories. The people you love, the friends you kick it with, the family you hold close, they deserve the version of you that wants to see tomorrow, not the version that gambles with it. So, if there's anything to take away from this bizarre, tragic story, it's this: don't waste the gift of life on games that don't matter. Build something, protect someone, laugh, but laugh in ways that don't leave someone in a casket. Because life is short enough already. We don't need to shorten it by playing with fire. And maybe, just maybe, if you take the story as a cautionary tale and pass it on, you can save someone else from making that same mistake, that same fatal mistake. And that's how something dark something senseless can be transformed into a light that guides others away from repeating it. So check game, knowledge is power, but wisdom is survival. This is Latin Actor 209. Salute. I'm out.
Yeah. 1 minute you ride with your day one. Next minute you pouring out liquor with your head low. Rest in peace to the homies. Free the real ones. We just products of what raised us. You some double like us. I remember Lil Dre, we was young in the game. 12 years old, already knowing street names. Pop showed him the chop, Big Bro did time. So by 15, he was deep in the grind. Fast forward, now we sitting in that courtroom cold, looking at a judge while his mama folds. Same corner, same block, different faces every week. One day you the shooter, next day you getting bleak. The hood don't love nobody, that's the raw truth. You either product or a victim in your youth. I seen him smile on Friday, dead by Monday. Caskets closed while the OGs say one day. And it ain't just a gunplay, it's them laws too. They building prison beds off what they think we do. I'm still haunted by the ones who didn't make it out. Now I rap for the fallen, that's what this
Boy,
about.
day you here, next day you gone. Heart full of pain, but I gotta stay strong. Cold world got us trapped in this maze. From the block to the box or early grave. We products of pain, got raised by the street. But the love don't last, only death repeat. So I hold on tight to the ones still breathing, and pour for the lost ones who ain't leaving.
They say environment shapes who you become. Well, mine came with shells, sirens, and a gun. Mama worked doubles, pops never came back. So the homies on the block became my map. At 16, it felt like we ran the land, but every year we lost another to the devil's hand. It's a cycle spinning, watch you drop next. Young soul gone, now they tatted on the neck. Reaper pulling up in a tinted out Benz, and the feds kicking doors in on our friends. You start with a dream, end with a charge, or you out here trying to dodge that black Dodge. So I walk light, pray heavy, move smart, cause love get you killed if you show too much heart. Now I teach my youngins to think before they go, cause I seen what happens when that ghetto won't let go.
One day you here, next day you gone. Heart full of pain, but I gotta stay strong. Cold world got us trapped in this maze. From the block to the box or early grave. We products of pain, got raised by the street. But the love don't last, only death repeat. So I hold on tight to the ones still breathing, and pour for the lost ones who ain't leaving.
Ain't no love in the section, only chalk on the floor. Hugs turn to handcuffs when you walk through that door. Judge don't care that you was just trying to eat. He just see a number in a file from the street, and the homie you grew up with might not make it. Caught in that system, now the state gon' break him. Yeah, it's like a drug, this street life. You hate it, but you can't quit it. And by the time you wanna change, the door done closed. So tell your little homie,